Welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 48. Alright. So we have officially completed the Amateur GT All-Stars, and as of which, with my DTM Astra, I won 7 out of 10 races. And eventually, after much trial and error, I eventually managed to get just the car I'm using for the next event. And that is this, the Honda Roybrig NSX. And let me tell you, this car was a real bitch for me to win. Because literally, no matter what I did, I kept winning the same old fucking cars over and over again. Except for this one. And now that I do have it, this is the car I'm going to use for the next event. So, let's get on with it, and before we do that, obviously, I'm going to head up to the tuning shop so I can put on some racing medium slick tyres, because obviously I have a feeling I may need the medium slicks. And let's now head over to our next event, which is the Amateur All Japan GT Championship. So, 10 race championship, out of which we are going to Grand Valley, Rome, Midfield, Route 5 Reverse, first time we've actually raced there, Laguna Seca, Super Speedway, Apricot Hill, Grand Valley Reverse, Route 11, and Tokyo for the finale. So, 15 grand if we can win each of these races, 5 grand for second and 2.5 for third, and also no limitations except for the license we need, and obviously I do have the license. And let's now get on with this shit and hope that we can manage to win the championship overall. And so this is our competition. So we have a Nissan Pencil Nismo GTR along with a Loctite Zaxel GTR, a Honda Arta NSX, a Toyota Denso Sard Supra GT, and at the back with me is another Roybrig NSX. And before we get started with this, obviously, do the traditional removal of driver aids because I don't need them, and let's get on with this. The start of the All Japan GT Championship in the Amateur League. Officially this time, I do have my microphone on. Which unsurprisingly is a memo I have not taken yet. At least not a memo I've written down yet. So here we are. And already I am around the outside of the hairpin. Everyone is getting sketchy at the moment. Still haven't found a way past the skyline. We are 3 wide going through the corner because the Supra was on my inside, but in spite of that I am now officially up into the lead, and where hopefully, if it is possible, I can now hold on to this interval. Hopefully. Almost got loose there on the curbs, but managing to correct the issue, and officially we are now through the first tunnel, and the Supra has already taken second place away from the Pennzoil skyline, as of which I'm now through the second tunnel and heading across the bridge. To the third tunnel we go, and already I now have a gap of 4 seconds. So I think that pretty much decides how well this championship is going to go for me, probably, because I have a rather healthy lead, and I'm also pretty certain I'll probably manage to hold on to that. as we are now starting lap number 2 here at Gran Valley, and where at the moment I am currently 4 seconds clear of the Denso Sard Supra. Anyways. Slowly pulling away from the Supra as we now head through the hairpin turn, and where it more or less looks like I'm going to be en route to an easy win as long as I don't fuck this up. I'm pretty certain a victory in the first race is just about likely to be guaranteed. Or almost more than likely. And almost scraping the wall there just before the bridge, but managing to lift off the throttle so I do not come into contact with the concrete, and officially it more or less looks like I am probably going to be en route to victory here at Gran Valley, and I think the rest of the field up to this point has pretty much stabilised, is what me thinks, because nobody appears to be fighting for position at the moment. As for me, I can pretty much say there is a likely possibility in saying that I will be on course to a potentially easy win. Of course, I'm not willing to make any guarantees, but at the moment it is certainly looking like I am en route to emerging victorious for the first time in this championship, and where I am pretty much hoping that whichever prize car I get after this event, it will be a good one. Possibly as good as this one, but hopefully not the same. Anyways, I'm now pretty much just under 7 seconds clear of the Supra at the present time, and it looks like nobody is really fighting for positions at the moment. Results are pretty much stabilised up to this point, and it's more or less likely for me to say that at the moment I could very well be on course to potentially sweeping the championship if all goes my way, and hopefully if my competence on driving these things does not manage to dent my overall performances. So, heading up of course through this slightly banked corner once again, and now heading through into the first tunnel here at Gran Valley, where I can pretty much say all I'm really doing now is just moving away in cruise mode. Even though, obviously, I would not expect myself to be dominating this much during the race, particularly if it's during an amateur league race, because rubber banding for most of these championships is very strong. But it looks like that's not turning out to be the case here at Gran Valley, because I would say I am probably going to be winning this race by a comfortable margin. So even though I'm able to extend in the first and second sectors, the Supra is able to close up again in both the third and fourth sectors. And furthermore, no, it's not ironic to see this, because it's more or less what I come to expect from this AI here in the amateur league. Even then, of course, if it looks like I'm basically leading this by an absolute margin, the truth is, this is basically just the start of what is probably going to be more than likely to occur in the future. And by that, I mean there is probably going to be additional domination yet to come in this championship. And since I put on the medium slick tyres, obviously, I figured of course they would come in handy for a circuit such as Gran Valley, because obviously the circuit does have a history of being hard on tyres, as like it literally shreds them once you see it from a long distance. But officially, I did think about that. I put on the medium slick tyres, and as a result, I have officially won the race pretty much. And in addition, I also set a new fastest lap to capitalise on how dominant I was. And I won by 6.8 seconds in the end over the Denso Sard Supra. Then it was the Penzo Nismo GTR in third, followed by the Raybrig NSX. Then it was the Loctite GTR in fifth, and then at the back it was the Arta NSX. So the car we narrowly beat in the GT All-Stars finishes last here. At Gran Valley, and is probably looking more than likely to potentially finish last in 9 out of 10 races. So, at the moment, everything is looking relatively comfortable for both me and my Raybrig NSX, because there are two in this championship, and it is more or less the likely possibility for me to say that I am probably going to be on my way to potentially winning 9 out of 10 races at the least. Anyways, race 2. Down the inside and officially taking the lead here in Rome for the first time, and where ultimately overall I can pretty much activate the cruise button, where I can pretty much activate the cruise button by the time we we get to the end of the second lap, and then once I've done that, obviously, I am pretty much home free. As long as I don't bottle this, I should be home free to clinching another win for both myself and the NSX, as of which I now lead this thing by 2.2 seconds after the first lap, and inevitably I would think that margin is very much going to increase. Ah, fuck. And the powers it might be, even in a dominating car up to this point, I would imagine that obviously even I need to have concentration, so even though it looks like I'm steadily pulling away from the rest of the field, obviously, I really cannot afford too many distractions, because obviously that is exactly the sort of strategy I would need to take if I'm going to lose this race, but fortunately, however, I'm pretty sure I won't, because I heard winning all 10 races in this championship is pretty easy if you have the car to do it, and this is looking more or less likely for me to officially overrule the opposition, pretty much. So at the moment, I'm pretty much looking more than likely to overrule the opposition, and as of which, that is exactly what I'm going to do. Anyways, I'm now 5.3 seconds cleared of the skyline up to the third lap, and we're now heading up to the second section of Coliseum Corners. And using the curbs at the right time, I'm not going too early or too late on the curbs, and it looks as though, up to this point, there is going to be quite a tussle going on for second position, because the Pennzoil skyline is really fending off from the Toyota Denso Sard Supra up to this point, and already by just over 2/10 I set another new fastest lap, and I run wide. Anyways, 6 seconds is now the overall margin to the Pennzoil skyline, as of which, obviously, the number 1 Pennzoil livery, that does of course remind me of Steve Park, who essentially overall himself is notably a former professional NASCAR driver, and would have certainly gone onwards to have probably much more of a successful career in NASCAR racing had it not been for the countless number of injuries that ultimately plagued him throughout his career. And it will always be a mystery on knowing what exactly would have happened to Steve Park's career had it not been for those countless number of injuries that he sustained throughout his career. And I'm pretty certain that had it not been for the injuries he sustained throughout his short-lived NASCAR career, I am pretty certain I am pretty certain he would have gone onwards to have a much more successful career in the future than lots of people thought he would have done, had it not been for those serious injuries. So, you know, I really have got to give credit to Steve Parkin, what he achieved and how exactly he was able to survive those injuries. Even though obviously it was ultimately what essentially ended his NASCAR career by the countless number of injuries he sustained. But remarkably, however, the man himself is still alive. Anyways, I just realised this is the final lap, and I am on course to victory number 2. And by less than a tenth, I set another new fastest lap to compensate. So won by pretty much 6.4 seconds in the end over the Pennzoil Skyline. The Supra finished in 3rd, then it was my fellow Roybrig NSX in 4th, followed by the Loctite XL GTR, and then at the back it was the Arta NSX. 15 seconds behind me, and pretty much 10 seconds behind the rest of the field. So, in the updated points, I now have 2 wins to my name, and officially we also have a tie for 2nd in this championship. Then it's the Roybrig NSX in 4th, followed by the Loctite XL GTR, and then at the back, and looking possibly more than likely to finishing last in probably 8 out of 10 races, I would imagine, is going to be the Arta NSX. And now we can move on to race number 3, where we are heading over to Midfield Raceway. And where it will probably be yet another, I think, 6 minutes of domination, because obviously this is a short circuit, and this time I did shift up into 2nd gear so I can limit the wheel spin. I know there probably wasn't any point in me doing it, but obviously I just decided to do it anyway. And already I am now making my moves stick. So the racing overall in this championship has not really been all that exciting so far, but obviously I still think it's been a good race, for me at least. I still think it's been a good championship for me at least, because I've already managed to sweep up pretty much the first 2 races effortlessly, and hopefully, if it's possible, I would probably imagine this race is more or less going to be the same. Even though I would imagine this is probably going to take me somewhere under 6 minutes to complete 5 laps overall. Because I would imagine these laps are literally just going to tick by. It more or less looks like the Supra will indeed retake the 2nd position away from the Pennzoil car after this race, because he already has a margin. So leading by 4.65 seconds at the moment over the Supra, as of which obviously it's also the only Supra in this championship, and I'm looking more or less like winning this race with relative ease, as I now set another new fastest lap, and I am now pretty much 5 seconds clear of the Supra. And as for the rest of the field at the moment, I would say their positions have pretty much stabilised. So here we are, and now pretty much 5 seconds clear of the Supra, and that is looking more or less like the margin I will probably win this race by, considering I am slowly managing to build up my lead. At the moment, everything is going more or less as I expected it to. So, starting lap 4 here at Midfield Raceway, and all I can really say up to this point is complete control. Probably the only response I can really give. Sector 1 for the 4th time here at midfield, and now heading under the Sector 2 mark, and all I can really say is, well, domination. There really isn't any other way I can describe how this championship has gone so far. It has pretty much just been utter and complete domination. Anyways, final lap, and officially I'm now pretty much confident enough to say that a victory is pretty much guaranteed. Heading through the final corner here at midfield, under the bridge, and officially almost to 3 wins in a row, and that officially makes it a hat trick. And as I expected, results for the rest of the field pretty much stabilised. I'm just yawning and stretching because I'm recording this on a Monday morning, and oddly enough my body still has not woken up. It's already about 20 past 10 over here. Anyways, 3 wins to me, 16 to the Supra, and it more or less looks like I'm probably going to sweep up the first 5 races, is what me thinks. And all I can really say about the championship up to this point as well, I've basically just been sweeping up race after race. Anyways, time for race 4, and where for the first time in this game we are racing at Route 5 Reverse. And yes, I do believe this is the first time we have officially raced up Route 5 reverse on this game. Because I've raced on the normal Route 5 circuit before, but I think, as far as I know, this probably is the first time we've actually raced on the reverse course. I think. Now, I could be wrong, but I think it's the first time we've raced here. And already heading through the first corner we go, and already the Supra has really been shuffled to the back, it looks like. But at the moment at least, I'm managing to take the lead away from the Penzolo skyline, so the Supra must have literally had a dreadful start once he was entering turn 1, and then suddenly, after that, he basically just completely lost momentum, methinks. I mean, I will have to check this, but I think this is the first time we have raced at Route 5 reverse in this game. But I only think that. I cannot be certain. The one thing I am certain of is the fact I'm saying that there is going to be quite a tussle going on for second position. And as for first, well, I think at the moment I have pretty much got that locked up and secured for the first half of this championship. Almost clipping the inside wall, but the car itself had to tailfish because there was a snap of oversteer, but fortunately I did manage to get the thing under control, and now I am pretty much doing what I have been doing throughout this championship. Just continuing to extend my lead at a rapid rate of knots, basically. Oh, fuck. Even though at the moment I am driving like shit, because I'm basically hitting the walls every fucking where I go. And yet somehow, because of how much quicker I am through the corners than these AI are, essentially that is basically what is keeping me ahead. Is AI, pretty much. So, guess who is probably going to be dominating the rest of this championship without any major challenges? It's me, by the way. Alrighty then, 3 laps are down and still 2 laps remain. So 8 seconds as I cross the line, but obviously I'm pretty certain that interval will shrink as we go along. I'm just literally decimating the opposition at the moment. I've literally got no challenges, even though I still continue to collect the outside wall. Because obviously, this thing really likes to slide a lot.
Does not look like I'm going to be challenged for the lead up to this point. Anyways, final lap, and where the only word I can really think of is just domination. And where I'm pretty much continuing to extend my lead pretty much lap after lap. Because that is all I've really been doing. Alright. And this time shifting down into third gear, and for once in my life I do manage to survive the corner without making contact with the outside wall, and officially it is looking more or less like I will probably make this championship a clean sweep, judging by how much domination I've been doing, and also furthermore I just missed out setting a new best lap. But again, it doesn't matter because I still win the race anyway, and at the end of that I won by pretty much 9¼ seconds over the Pennzoil GTR. Then it was the Raybrigg NSX in third, so double podium for Honda. Then the Toyota was in fourth, followed by the Loctite XL GTR in fifth, and then at the back it was the Arta NSX. So we're going to have quite a tussle going on for second. Dependent on knowing who exactly will clinch it, that remains a mystery. But the gap at the moment between second and third is only 1 point. And meanwhile, I am pretty much safe enough to say I'm now double the score of everyone else. So basically, all I can really do at this point is just keep winning. Because that is literally how piss easy this has been so far. And obviously, I will save this replay because I do not have a replay saved at Route 5 reverse yet. Anyways, moving on to race number 5, and where we are officially going to Laguna Seca. Be prepared for more domination. Oh shit! I almost thought for sure I was not going to correct the spin, but somehow I did. Anyways, I'm now down the inside of the skyline, and looks as though the Supra is trying to see if he can go for a manoeuvre, but doesn't work out for him in the end, and it looks like the Pennzoil GTR has pretty much cleared the Supra up to this point, and got a little bit loose there on the exit of
on the entry of Corkscrew, and it now looks like the Supra has officially managed to take the advantage down the inside of Corkscrew, and he has now taken the second position. Anyways, I think it's now safe to say the Supra has officially taken second position away. The Pennzoil skyline, and I would say this is where the domination continues, because that is all I've really been doing up to this point. As much as I would really like to make the racing more interesting, the truth is, in this championship, I don't think I could have made this any easier. But again, I can assure you, by the time I get over to the professional league, I'm pretty certain the domination will not stay this way, because there is a more than likely possibility for me to say that in the future there will probably be possibility of me more or less taking home 5 out of 5 wins. To officially complete part 1 of the Amateur GT Championship. All Japan GT Championship, to my correction. And as I expected, I am gradually pulling away. So 5.6 seconds the margin. Officially, I am now pretty much 5.7 seconds clear of the Supra up to this point. Just managing to avoid scraping the inside wall on the entry to Corkscrew, and now heading through to the final corner once again. I'm officially starting both the 5th and final lap here at Laguna Seca. Where officially it more or less looks like part 1 of this championship is going to be a clean sweep. Or should I say, unquestionable clean sweep. Oh shit. I did not think I was gonna correct the fishtailing there, because that almost certainly looks like I was gonna lose it, but surprisingly in the end I didn't. And my left side tyres were in the gravel. Or sand, whichever it is, because this is a circuit in the desert. I win! By pretty much 5.5 seconds over the Supra, then it's the Pennzoil Nismo GTR in third, followed by the Roybrig NSX in fourth, then it's the other Skyline in fifth, and then at the back it is once again the Arta NSX. So for me, it is pretty much a perfect 5-race sweep to starting off part 1 in this championship, and where I am officially double the points of everyone else in this championship. And as for 5th and 6th, up to this point, I would say those results have pretty much been stabilised. But as for me, I am more or less looking on course to probably clinching this championship 2, maybe 3 races before the end. So there we go. 5 races are down and still 5 remain. And next time we shall be doing part 2 of this championship. Stay tuned.